Hello, everybody, and welcome back to BMS or The Bald Man Speaks, the channel for news, views, and interviews on what's happening in the world today. Now, how many objectives can a war have? When Israel and United States attacked Iran on the 28th of February, the stated objective of United States was to degrade Iran's nuclear capacity, to destroy its missile factories, and to destroy its missile stockpile. The Israel's objective was also very similar, but in addition, they want to damage Iran so badly that they will not be a threat in the future for Israel. So, whichever regime is in place, they will not have the capacity to threaten Israel again. So, this was Israel's objectives. With the war entering the first week, US President has clearly said that the nuclear facilities of Iran were totally destroyed, the missile factories were also totally taken off, and the supreme leader of Iran was dead. And he also stated that the objective today is regime change. And to that effect, he had actually called to a lot of rebels in Iran to come up, to take over the government. And he had clearly said that United States is behind them and US will support this regime change. So the goal has shifted now, taking that the first objective was over, the second objective was regime change, and US started working towards that goal. Unfortunately, regime change did not happen. And there were no rebels who took over, and the same regime which was running Iran before is still running it now. Probably the leaders have changed. A lot of leaders were eliminated, but the next line of leaders are running the government the same way. Now, by the end of second week, no one was sure if Iran's nuclear capabilities were actually destroyed, whether its missile production factories were actually not functioning, because by the second week, the intensity of Iran's drone attacks and missile attacks, especially on Israel and the countries in the Middle East, was actually increasing and not decreasing. Other than Israel, Iran was attacking countries in the Middle East which are hosting military assets of the United States like UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, and Oman. So this was a clear message to them. See, if you are hosting the United States, you will also become targets of Iran. So send the United States out of your country and we will leave you alone. And by the end of second week, Iran had made its objectives very clear. Now, Iran has stated that this is not a war we started. It was imposed on us. And we are only defending ourselves. And this war will continue, and Iran will decide when this war is over, and it will be on its own terms and not on anybody else's terms. Iran was very clear of its objective at that point of time. By the third week, the United States has claimed the entire top brass of the Iran's army and military were destroyed. The top brass of the political system was destroyed. And they also made a comment, there's no place left in Iran to bomb. Iran, on the other hand, has increased the intensity of bombing. Also, in the beginning of the third week, the President of the United States was frantically requesting NATO to send the troops and the Navy to assist the United States in the war against Iran. What's difficult to comprehend here is, if Iran's missile facilities were completely destroyed, if the Iran's navy was almost destroyed and the military, all the entire commanders, everybody were dead, why would you need your armed forces and navy to come and assist you? And why are you negotiating? By the fourth week, the President of the United States has said, Iran is begging for a deal. They are giving us 10 ships as a gift so that the deal is true and the war is stopped. And when asked about regime change, he stated that the first regime of Iran was over. Then came the next regime. Nobody knows which regime is talking about, but he said the second regime was also gone, and it's the third regime which is in place now. Now, unfortunately, killing a supreme leader does not mean regime has changed. Today, it is exactly the same regime. No rebels have taken over. The same government is running the show. And also, the supreme leader today is the son of the supreme leader who was killed. I seriously don't understand where a regime change has actually happened. A lot of leaders were killed, but that does not mean the regime has changed. Now, Iran on its side has made it very clear that there are no negotiations going on with the US, and it has put forth its own terms for the peace deal. And two of very important points in this deal were that the United States has to vacate all its military bases in the Middle East, and also United States has to give a compensation for all the damages which have happened in Iran. Now, these are terms which will not be acceptable to the US, and the terms of United States are not acceptable to Iran. So this is the stalemate now. And in the middle of the fourth week, United States President has said the Navy has been sent with US Marines because they are thinking about putting boots on the ground. The response to this by the Iranian side is, you're most welcome. Because the Americans should understand that the terrain in Iran is best known to the Iranians. Americans are new over there, and to put the boots in Iran would be a disaster. His ratings have started going down drastically. It's the lowest now since he took over the second term. And any loss of life of US Marines in Iran would drastically affect his popularity rating. Even today, a survey has shown that almost 55% of the Americans do not support this war. They feel that the United States has been pulled into this war and it's fighting Israel's war and not America's war, and there was no direct threat to the United States from Iran.